One of the benefits of aquaponics that we have is that we are able to grow in these different locations and overcome some of the challenges that we heard about earlier in agriculture. So, for example, here is a greenhouse with an aquaponics system. This greenhouse is designed to be completely sustainable and integrated with the environment, and it has an aquaponics system that's able to grow all of those foods that we mentioned in the food transportation slide. This farm on Oahu is growing microgreens, lettuces, and herbs on a 2-acre farm. Their farm is able to provide enough produce to satisfy Whole Foods, to satisfy their local grocery store, which is called Foodland, and they provide to a lot of the higher end restaurants in the Waikiki and the Ala Moana area. So just on a 2-acre farm, they're providing a lot of food for millions and millions of tourists and locals that live in the city and county of Honolulu. Growing Power is located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. For those of us not familiar with Minneapolis, it's located in the northern latitudes of the United States, which means that they don't get sunlight as well as a place like Oahu does year-round. So they have to rely on some different technologies like greenhouse and some maybe artificial lighting technologies so that they can grow plants more year-round. However, they're overcoming those challenges through a variety of ways, and Will Allen was actually awarded several different prizes over time and has gotten several nods from those in the aquaponics industry to solve some of the challenges that his people are facing in that area. And there is a farm in Denver, Colorado at the Mental Health Center of Denver that is using aquaponics to grow food for the local population. The local population is an at-risk population that does rely on the resources provided by the Mental Health Center of Denver. As I alluded to when discussing the benefits of aquaponics, there are a lot of opportunities in this field to learn about things that we never expected to be learning about. So we do know that aquaponics relies significantly on the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. It's quite apparent when doing things like water chemistry that we have to rely on the principles of science. When we're looking at microscopic pictures of things like bacteria, we understand that we're using the principles of science. But the other thing that we need to remember is that aquaponics is also a business. We're farmers trying to make money and trying to stay in business. So back of aquaponics is the idea that we need to be sustainable and that we need to utilize the principles of economics. So we're not able to go through an aquaponics endeavor without inevitably using these disciplines. Some other disciplines that come in besides the obvious one of agriculture and business are the aspects of what it means to run a business. Some of us have to market our business. Some of us have to market the crops to the people that are going to ultimately eat us or eat those foods. The other thing is that we might need to write some of the content that's necessary in order for our business to go forward. Maybe that's just writing a blurb on a website. Maybe that's writing a blog. Perhaps that's writing a proposal for a grant or to a loan officer. You know, the other thing is when we're going down these paths, we saw that there's a lot of different ways to do aquaponics. So we inevitably have to bring in principles of construction, of architectural design, in order to really approach how to use aquaponics successfully. Another example of how aquaponics provides opportunities in different disciplines is, for example, water conservation and wastewater management. So we are highly involved with water, and we've touched on how important water is in agriculture by highlighting the challenges that water is a scarce resource and that a lot of that water is being misused and the wastewater is being dumped into our waterways. So the process of going through aquaponics instruction can give us a more robust understanding on how to manage our wastewater and conserve those water resources that we have already. You have to do data collection. We have to go through and critically think about what we've collected, which means that we are doing research of some fashion. So those research could be in one of the environmental sciences. We've focused on some of those aspects by discussing wastewater. Uh, we are growing food. So back of food is how well that food provides the nutrition for the people that are eating it, and how do we prepare that food so that people will eat it or so that people will eat new things. Some of the challenges that I've seen in this aspect, I grew tilapia in the Pacific Islands, but tilapia there are considered a junk fish, meaning they're considered a fish that nobody eats. So there were a lot of uh, obstacles that we had to overcome if we wanted someone to eat tilapia. So creating new cuisines, creating new ways of presenting this food, and even breeding fish that didn't look like tilapia in order to get people to eat food that's healthy and grown locally. Food that's grown locally offers us food security, and it offers us food that's grown locally offers us food security, and it gives us a chance to learn about the food that we're growing and how to grow that food in a safe and sustainable manner. There's also having to create the music or art that goes along with creating websites or commercials and stuff like that. But the reality is that there's so much more that can come out of aquaponics, and we're just beginning to crack the surface of what it means to introduce different disciplines into the aquaponics thing.